moments ago. Hillary Clinton hit Donald Trump on what is considered to be his forte, the economy. Listen to what Secretary Clinton just said to a major labor group, the Services Employees International Union.
He could bankrupt America like he's bankrupted his companies. I mean, ask yourself, how can anybody lose money running a casino, really?
With me now, Joe Borelli, a New York City councilman who is co-chair of Trump's New York campaign, and CNN political commentator Bob Beckel, a veteran Democratic strategist. Joe, let me just first turn to you and get your response to Secretary Clinton there. Bankrupting America.
Well, I don't know what Secretary Clinton knows about the economy. She's never created a job in her life. Donald Trump has. She's free to say what she wants. She's obviously pandering to her friends in the labor movement there. I'm not terribly concerned. I think she's doing everything possible to avoid the conversation about today's and this weekend's poll results.
Bob Beckel, as a Dem, care to respond?
Yeah, just a quick response is that, first of all, when I summited Everest, nobody gave me any credit for that. The thing about Trump is yeah, he's gotten people to work on his buildings, but a lot of them have been immigrants who've come over and done their job and gone back over. Here's a guy who's the champion of keeping illegal immigrants out, and yet when they build his buildings, you'll find over half the workers are not Americans.
Okay, I'm going to come back to you on Everest offline, sir.
Please.
Let me ask you, Bob. With regard to the polls, Mr. Trump has to be thrilled at seeing, the big Mo on his side gaining on Secretary Clinton. I have to ask, how shaken are our liberals here?
Not much. I mean, look, I've been through 7 presidential campaigns, and every time you get to this stage, first of all, these polls are useless. They'll change, but it reflects 2 things. One, Trump, after being the nominee, the presumptive nominee, the Republicans rallied around him, and Hillary Clinton does not have the support yet of all the Democrats because a lot of the Bernie Sanders people are not saying in polls they're going to vote for her, but they will. The easy thing to organize a Sanders voter is going to be Donald Trump.
Noteworthy, though, in looking at some of these polls, and I know you say they don't matter. It's interesting, different days, people say they do and they don't. That 20% of Sanders supporters will eventually go toward Trump, which is something that Secretary Clinton is going to need to. That's what they say. I'm just saying.
That's what they say in polls. Yeah, I've done a lot of polls. It's fine. They let them believe that. That's like going to the Wizard of Oz and asking for support. I mean, it's not going to happen. A Sanders supporter going with Donald Trump won't happen. They may not vote.
Okay. We'll see. Let's get to the issues. Chuck the polls. Let's get to the issues, specifically on guns. We are doing the show live, and we saw the NRA officially endorsing Mr. Trump. But then there was the flip-flop on his stance on guns. Joe, I'm coming to you. Here's the sound.
I don't want to have guns in classrooms, although in some cases teachers should have guns in classrooms, frankly. But I'm not advocating guns in classroom. But remember, in some cases, and a lot of people have made this case, teachers should be able to have guns. Trained teachers should be able to have guns in classrooms.
Shouldn't have guns, should have guns. Here's who should have guns, like flip-flops within. It's one thing to evolve over time or if something happens. It's another like 20 seconds later. Point number 1. Point number 2, just on climate change on a flip-flop. Politico unearthed a permit application by Trump International Golf Leagues Ireland. They were trying to build a seawall designed to protect one of his golf courses from global warming and its effects. He had said this wasn't a thing. How do you explain that?
Look, let's take the gun issue first. Donald Trump's position on the Second Amendment has been fairly clear from the start, although he made somewhat of an unclear statement there regarding teachers and whether there should be armed personnel in schools. But his opposition to Second Amendment or restrictive Second Amendment policies goes back to 2013, even here in New York when he was outspoken against the New York gun law. As far as climate change, you can't blame someone for trying to protect their property and use whatever they can. So we don't know the full details about what happened in Scotland. We don't know what Scottish law requires as far as coastal protection. I'm not going to hypothesize that he, even he was responsible for putting that line in that application. But I just want to point out to Bob, it is funny how Bob has mentioned time and time again or cited the polls, but now the polls suddenly don't matter because they don't show his preferred candidate winning.
No, I don't cite polls. I don't. I think they're a waste of time. But listen, I'll tell you this. I think Trump's statement about some teachers might have guns is a reasonable position to take. But he got the NRA endorsement, and that caused a big rift in the NRA. So He's running a fine line here, trying to have it both ways. And with the NRA, you don't get it both ways.
Let me move on. Bill Clinton. Bill Clinton just said this. Roll the sound.
Are we going to grow this economy and put every American on an escalator to a brighter future? Or do what Make America Great Again really means, which is, hey, I'll make it the way it used to be. You will be better off. And if you're not, at least you'll have somebody else to look down on. That is a dumb idea. It will not work.
All right, so, Make America Great Again. Obviously, this is the slogan for the Trump campaign. And so now you have critics, Joe, asking Trump, saying, let's pick a year. When was America last great? And what's your answer to that?
Look, it's not about pinpointing any moment in time, but it really is identifying this notion that many Americans have that 8 years of Barack Obama, prior administrations, whether they be Democrat or Republicans, have led the country in a misguided way. And Trump has done a successful job in sort of channeling that by his message. It's been consistent from day one, and now we see that once he's secured the Republican nomination, more people are gravitating towards it. I think former president is just making hay out of nothing, and he's trying to essentially grasp at straws, and he sounded a bit off, to be honest, when he was speaking there.
Bob Beckel?
Well, Bill Clinton was president during the greatest economic expansion in history. More jobs were created, more wages went up. So he's got some standing to be talking about that. And I just wonder what Donald Trump's standing is. I mean, he talks about the economy. What is it? One of these days, he's going to have to answer some questions, fundamental questions. How are you going to do what you say? And if you want to make America great again, Brooke had a good point. When was it not great? And what are you going to do to make it greater? Specific
Question that's being asked. It's a question on a date and a time. Bob Beckel and Joe Borelli, thank you, gentlemen, very much.